The following podcast contains spoilers and very rude words. Hello everybody and welcome back to We Watched a Thing. It is the end. It's the last one. We're going to do it.
The end of all things.
The end of, even here at the end of all things. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. Sorry. It's really late and I'm just excited to get this movie watched and done. We are going to watch The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, a 2003 epic fantasy adventure film directed by Peter Jackson from a screenplay by Fran Walsh, Philippa Boyens, and Jackson, based on, of course, the 1955 novel The Return of the King, the third volume of The Lord of the Rings. There's some knee cracks going on there, mate. It stars, of course, Elijah Wood, Ian McKellen, Liv Tyler, Viggo Mortensen, Sean Astin, Cate Blanchett, John Rhys-Davies, Bernard Hill, Billy Boyd, Dominic Monaghan, Orlando Bloom, Hugo Weaving, Miranda Otto, David Wenham, Karl Urban, John Noble, Andy Serkis, Ian Holm, and Sean Bean. Such a list of names. What is Sean Bean's name doing there? And what is it about, Toph?
Look, the armies of darkness are pouring forward. We're going to have a fight. Frodo needs to try and piff the ring. There's a bit going on.
All right, shall we hit play on this bad boy then? All right, let's do it. We made it. We did it. It's nearly 2 a.m. We're full of nuggets. We're full of barley wine, but we made it through.
It's a really long film.
Especially that extended edition. It's 4 hours 20. I was very, very glad though.
20 minutes of credits.
I was going to say more than 20 minutes of credits. I was very glad when we got to the end to discover that.
Yeah, it's only as long as Zack Snyder's Justice League.
One of those films is worthy of its length. Thank you, Zack Snyder.
Forever indebted.
I wonder how long Justice League would be if it wasn't all in slow-mo. It's really late, but we did it. We watched Return of the King.
Yeah, I've made some notes.
I have notes too, as you know.
Fun fact: I looked in the recycle bin for my notes to see if I had them from when we were going to do this a year ago.
Yep.
No, they don't go back that far. I just had a bunch of shopping lists.
Anything interesting?
No, it's the same every week.
You really should just stop making new lists and deleting them then.
You'd think.
I mean, okay, it's kind of hard to start this discussion. It's the third time in, like, not that many hours really that we've spoken about these films, and okay.
Well, okay, let me say that, much like Fellowship, I have a very distinct recollection of seeing this film for the first time at the cinema.
Yeah.
This is the only one that I didn't see on opening day.
Really?
And it pained me because we were in Victoria visiting some family, and I think we drove down on Christmas Day. Then on Boxing Day, we were doing family stuff. And so then on the 27th, it just got to a point where I said, Mum, where are the keys to your car? I'm driving to Frankston. Anyone who knows Melbourne knows that I was heading to what might politely be called a shithole to watch this film. Because I was like, I can't fucking go on without seeing this movie.
Yeah.
And the plan was to see it the next day. And everyone was just like, you can't wait one more day. And I was like, no, I cannot wait one more day. It's already been one day too long.
Yeah.
I am going to see this movie. Because, like, The Return of the King is my favorite of the books. It's, like, it's the best bit. It's the coolest bit. There's a bunch of awesome shit happening. So And having loved the first two films, I went into this film, and I still do this to fucking 20 years later, I'm still doing this, just setting myself up for disappointment. The bar I set for this film was, this will be my favourite movie ever.
Yeah, that's a high
I mean, like,
bar.
I flat out was like, that's my pass. That's, like, my under-over, whether this film has succeeded.
Yeah.
Was really just nothing short of, for this to completely succeed, it has to be my favourite movie ever.
Yeah.
So after the first time I saw this movie, which I really enjoyed, I was mildly bummed because it wasn't my favourite, literally my favourite movie ever.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask whether maybe you did feel a little bit of like, you know, like, do you remember when we saw Force Awakens? And we loved the shit out of it. We saw it
because Force
7
Awakens
times.
fucking rules.
We saw it 7 times at the cinemas. And then you look back now and you're like, it's not worthy of that. Did you have a similar thing with this movie? Like, at the time, did you think it was amazing?
I did really, despite the fact that I know that there was that little bit of letdown where I was like, oh, it's not my favourite movie ever. I still really liked it. I think I saw it 4 times at the movies.
Yeah.
And I think I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah. I remember seeing this at the movies as well. Like I mentioned, I saw this at the marathon, and I can't remember what time it started, but I remember that it finished at 6 a.m. and me and some mates just walked to one of their houses via Macca's on the way for breakfast and then just slept the whole day. And it was so good. Oh, actually, though, this, I don't know if I've told you this story before. This was the very, very, very awkward marathon where a friend of mine broke up with his girlfriend between the second and third movies.
What?
Yes. So then for the third movie, though, it was the most uncomfortable, awkward thing ever.
And so they're both still there.
Yes. Yeah. Yep, both there. It was really uncomfortable.
Who is this person?
Like, you've had some uncomfortable breakups. Like, I don't think you've told this on the show, but there was the time where you broke up with someone and then had to sit there and tie your shoes back up because it was a no-shoe house.
This is why I'm against no shoes inside houses.
Imagine that for 3.5 hours.
Fucking hell. Just let people wear shoes.
Says the man who literally sat down and said, I'm taking my shoes off.
I did. They're back on now, though. I'm ready to break up with you at any moment.
You did that a year ago, mate.
It's true.
It still crushes me.
So I don't love the start of this film.
Yeah, you said that and I found that interesting because I like the start of this film. So
I don't need Smeagol's backstory.
You don't like its placement at the start as kind of the cold open, or you just don't need it at all?
I don't need it. I feel like I know enough.
But okay, is that you coming in as? Forgive me if I'm wrong. I don't remember. Did you say you've read the books? Do you think that's you coming to it as someone who literally knows the backstory?
No, I don't think it is. I don't... Like, I was like, sweet, fucking lights go down in the movie. I'm so fucking utterly pumped for this film. And there's... Oh, it's actually Andy Serkis, and it all looks a bit weird, and...
Yeah, it doesn't
not for me.
I will agree, I
Just
don't like
not
the
for
look
me.
of that segment, but I like it. I like that it's there.
The one bit of it I really like is when he's turning from Smeagol into Gollum, really. And he has those lines about the things he's forgotten.
Yeah. I forgot food, and I forgot this, and I forgot my own name.
Yeah, and as he just I like that way of the way that he explains the ring taking his. I know he's not a human, but it's stripping him.
Yeah.
Of his humanity. I like that way that it's explained.
And I actually really like the look of the in between Gollum.
Yeah, there's one that just he looks like the Grinch. Like, there's one particular one where it's like, is that Jim Carrey?
Yeah. And while we're on Gollum, actually, I said in the last episode that every time I watch, I forget how disappointed I am in the look of Gollum because my memory of him is looking so good. He does look better in this one. They had definitely improved their technique between these films.
Yes, they had a bit of practice. They had another 12 months to work on it. Gollum certainly looks better in this film than Two Towers.
Yeah.
Nice little move they do in differentiating Smeagol from Gollum when he's talking to himself in that reflection.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, it's a great scene.
It is a good scene, that one. And I remember one day it twigged to me that the reason Smeagol looks more sympathetic than Gollum, other than there are differences in the facial expressions, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But
Gollum is more toothy.
Yeah. Smeagol, like Puss in Boots in Shrek, has larger pupils than Gollum.
Yeah, I never noticed that.
It just softens his whole look and makes him more approachable and likable than the little beady-eyed Gollum.
I never noticed that before, but it does raise some questions. Like, physically, how does that happen? This is the same guy talking to his reflection. How come his reflection has smaller pupils?
We do get beginning of this film, we get right back on track with just what is pipeweed, because Merry and Pippin are fucked up,
and they're talking about a particular strain as well.
Yeah, they're enjoying the long bottom leaf that Saruman had stashed away, and yes, they're drinking as well, but they are they're messed up, those two. And Gimli wants in. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I like that in this series, everybody's on the pipeweed. Like, yes, Saruman has a stash. He seems like the least fun guy ever.
But even he's rocking the gunge. Speaking of Saruman, he gets offed quite early in this film.
Very early. It must be, it's like virtually the second or third sequence in the film.
Yeah. And this might be dependent on which version of the film you're watching. So for this one, we did watch the extended cut of Return of the King. We only did theatrical for the first two because it was just a raging act of cowardice by the two of us. But we did the proper one for Return of the King. Do you recall, did that scene happen in the theatrical release?
I'm trying to
Return of the King?
See, because...
Or do they just leave him there?
I mentioned how long it's been since I've seen the theatrical versions. And I mentioned that when I went to the cinemas last year, they were the theatrical ones. Return of the King was the only one we didn't watch in the cinema. We watched at home, which, of course, as you now know, I only own the extended cut of. So... I don't recall.
I've got a suspicion.
I'm sure that scene happens.
Murdering him doesn't happen.
You think he just falls or something? Because he definitely dies. Because the whole thing with, the Eye of Sauron ball, that all still plays out.
I thought Pippin just looked down at and saw it.
No,
I'm happy to be corrected. It's been that long since I've seen the theatrical cut. I'm not convinced that happens in it.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's a pretty big difference if he doesn't die.
Huge. And because, of course, when it happens, when we see Saruman and Wormtongue get killed, it immediately informs you that there's something that's not going to happen at the end of this film.
Yeah.
The raising of the Shire is not going to be there.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, it's great that Christopher Lee gets to go out with a sweet death scene. Landing on that spike is pretty great.
Best death scene in the movie.
And he apparently, I think Peter Jackson tells the story in the extended features. And to this day, 20 years on, the extra features on the extended edition DVDs are still the extra features by which all other extra features are measured.
Yeah.
They were just the absolute greatest. They've never been beaten, and people should try and be that good.
Yeah.
Anyway, they do tell the story about, prepping that scene. I think they'd, done take one. And then, Wormtongue stabs Saruman in the back, and Christopher Lee does what he does. And Jackson comes up and, he wants it to be a bit more like, oh, or something. Christopher Lee, who was a former, like, I think he was like Special Forces, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He says to Peter Jackson, "Well, I know what happens." And Jackson just like backed away. He was like, "You do you, Chris. I don't need the details."
That's amazing. It's a really interesting move that he does get killed off so early, because we spoke earlier about how the main villain in this entire saga is more of an entity, and everything up to this point has been operated through Saruman. So as soon as he dies, there's this really weird shift then where there's almost no tangible villain, which is really interesting. And like immediately after he dies, Gandalf turns around to one of the other blokes and he's like, tell them that the enemy is on the move. And it's like, well, really? Because like the enemy is just an eye in the sky now. Like it's a really interesting turn of events there.
I tell you who the enemy kind of is at this point in time. Racism. Gandalf's like, "Hey, King Theoden, we need to go help Gondor." And Theoden's basically like, "Build the wall." He wants nothing to do with it. Disgraceful stuff. We get a change here that from the source text, which I think actually serves the film pretty well, which is that they move the reforging of Narsil into the Flame of the West, this sword that Elrond presents to Aragorn into this film, which I think works quite well.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were like, "What, are we skipping this? What's going on? This sword's like quite a big deal." But it's a cool scene here, and like it's good that we get Hugo Weaving coming back in with his eyebrows being the MVP of the entire trilogy. They do so much work.
I mean, they shift a lot of stuff around between these two movies, because my recollection is that the spider, what's the spider's name? It's got a really dumb name. Shelob. What a silly name. That's
the name you bump on.
That's actually
main character's called Frodo.
That's actually at the end of Two Towers, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Moving that here.
That I'm pretty comfortable with it for two reasons. One is that in terms of the actual timeline of these characters, yeah, what Frodo and Sam are doing at the end of Two Towers, down beneath them is what's happening in Return of the King. Yeah. So timeline-wise, it just makes sense. It also means that you give Frodo and Sam a bit more to do in this film other than just walk through Mordor.
Yeah, I was going to say that, because obviously Frodo and Sam are arguably, this is the weird thing about this saga. Frodo is the protagonist at the end of the day. He's the one who has the ring. He's the one who has the quote-unquote hero's journey. But not really. Like, particularly by the time you get to this film, Aragorn really is the main character.
Yeah, it's, who's the Return of the King?
Exactly. Yeah.
The film is literally fucking named after Aragorn.
Yeah.
One thing we do get from that Frodo and Sam get to witness in their adventures of Two Towers transplanted into Return of the King, our favourite thing, fucking beam of energy into the sky.
Yeah, you love a beam of energy.
Yeah.
I know you've said it many times
about to spew forth from Minas Morgul, the evil, corrupted city. At this point in time, I'm assuming we weren't really bumping on a beam of energy into the sky.
I don't feel like it was really a thing back then.
Yeah, whereas now...
This paved the way, mate.
Yeah, now it's like, fuck it, it's probably in Noah Baumbach's next film. I don't know the story of White Noise. For all I know, there is a beam of energy into the sky in White Noise.
I mean, Aronofsky loves a beam into the sky. I'm sure that The Whale ends that way.
Beams into the sky. Jesus Christ. I'm sure I didn't bump on it at the time, and now it's just after watching it in 17 different MCU films. Yeah. It's like, for fuck's sake.
At least in this film, the beam of energy itself isn't like the threat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a reasonably mysterious beam.
Yeah.
It doesn't really do anything.
It doesn't really do... Like, what is it actually? A beacon? It's not even really a beacon. It's literally just a beam.
Yeah.
Just for funsies.
It's kind of a flex from the Witch King.
Yeah. Just check this shit out.
I mean, speaking of things being lit, the beacons. Gondor calling for aid.
Yeah.
Genuinely spectacular stuff.
Yeah.
Like, there's a degree of self-indulgence about the filmmaking there, and I'm all for it. Like, it's just spectacular.
Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it. So good, in fact, that King Theoden stops being racist towards Gondor. He's like, okay, all right, we'll go hell. Stunning turnaround from the king, actually.
Yeah.
He's like, no, fuck those guys. Then Aragorn runs in and says, no, genuinely, they've asked for help.
Yeah.
And really without hesitation. He's like, all right, let's go. By this point, Gandalf and Pippin have already fucked off.
Yeah.
They've gone down to Gondor. And we get yet another one of my good on you filmmakers for just doing Tolkien. And you get like the odd person referring to Gandalf as Mithrandir.
Yeah.
Makes no sense to anyone.
Yeah.
If you don't know, that makes no sense to anyone. And they're just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
We're just going to have people call him Mithrandir. And you'll keep up.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. And again, you just get Ian McKellen pulling off lines that nobody else could pull off. Like when he puts Pippin on that horse and he says it's Shadowfax, right? Yeah, Chris Hemsworth. He says to Chris Hemsworth something like, what is it? It's like,
show us the meaning of haste.
Show us the meaning of haste. It's like nobody else could pull that line off.
And it's incredible.
It's so fucking good.
And off runs the mighty Shadowfax, which in these movies is just a fucking horse. It's just a horse.
It's just a horse, mate.
Just a horse. We get another in our series of great Gandalf Pippin moments is during the siege of Gondor, which, holy shit, goes on for a long time.
Yes.
Holy shit.
This is what I was talking about.
So much of this film is the siege of Gondor.
This is what I was talking about. And here's the thing. I don't remember if the theatrical cut is this bad. But this movie, in this form at least, is too long.
That's fine.
It's too long, particularly the battle.
No, the battle's fine. The battle's not what I have beef with.
No, that entire siege battle sequence, which literally is like 2 hours.
It's really long.
It's too long. And what really grinds my gears is I think the pacing is really poor because it is this giant epic battle that lasts for 2 hours, and then at the end of it, ghosts turn up, and it's
you skipped
done
it
in 20 seconds.
I mean, you've just skipped 2 hours. That's fine.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I slept through 2 hours.
I could tell from the snoring. Yeah, how are you complaining about the length when you didn't actually watch it?
I totally watched it, mate.
All those bits where you were snoring, you were watching?
Well, yeah. I was trying my best to stay awake.
All right, well, can I get back to the point I tried to make several
sleep.
minutes ago?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Much like the movie should have done. Should have been over that quickly.
In our tremendous run of Gandalf-Pippin moments, Pippin literally saves Gandalf's life in one of the skirmishes in the Siege of Gondor. Gandalf turns around, is nice to him for roughly 2 seconds,
Yeah.
and then tells him to fuck off. It's so good.
Yeah.
These two are the best. If there's going to be a Middle-earth sitcom, it should just be Gandalf and Pippin sharing an apartment.
Yeah, painting a line down the middle of the room.
Our other hobbity hero, my guy Merry.
Yep. Because in your eyes, there are 3 Hobbit heroes, right? It's Frodo, Merry, and Pippin.
No, there's 4. There's primarily one Hobbit hero, but we'll get to that. He, of course, badly wants to be a part of the fight.
Yeah.
With the rest of the Rohirrim.
Yeah.
And they're like, nah, mate, you're a Hobbit. Just nah. Eowyn, who of course knows exactly how he's feeling.
Yeah.
She picks him up and is like, all right, let's go. And we know it's Eowyn right from the off, which is a departure. Do you have any strong feelings about knowing that it's her that picks him up
Well,
right from the beginning?
I mean, it kind of takes the realism out of the film because she's a woman, and so she wouldn't really have the physical strength to A, ride a horse, or B, pick up a hobbit. Am I right?
I think Tolkien probably agrees with you.
No, I haven't read the book, so I have no beef with it.
Wait, what? Did I know that?
I'm sure you knew that.
I've spent 2.5 podcasts thinking
No.
the opposite.
No.
So when I said Tom Bombadil earlier, you were like,
I know Tom
Who?
Bombadil. This is well, maybe I have read the books because I know Tom Bombadil. I have a really bad memory. Is the thing. I know Tom Bombadil. I don't know how I know it though.
yeah.
But
Well, I'd recommend the books.
yeah,
They're
I
good.
hear they're decent.
Yeah, they're quite good.
So I have no personal beef with knowing that. Do you think it makes a difference? Would you rather be in suspense about someone?
Yeah, I
saved
think
it?
there's potential for a cool reveal down the track that it's Eowyn rather right when she picks him up.
See, but maybe it's just because of the way the movie is constructed. I don't feel like there could ever be suspense there because that story has been built. Like you said, we know that she already feels bad for him. We know that she wants to fight as well.
Well, it's fine if you suspect it, because then when it happens, you can have I fucking knew it.
I don't think it's a suspect, though. I feel like it's just okay, that's that.
Well, I think it'd be better. And since only one of us has read it, I'm probably going to go with me.
Oh, I've read it, mate.
Genuinely great comedic moment in this movie. I love it. I love it every time I watch it. Is when the gates of Gondor are finally going to be breached.
Yeah.
By this large wolf-like battering ram that that the orcs are very taken with.
Yeah, they keep smashing it again and again.
Really really respond to this thing.
It's a pretty cool battering ram though, with like the flames coming out of the mouth.
Yeah, I don't know if that helps, but
it looks sick.
It looks good. Gandalf's line about whatever comes through those gates, you will stand your ground.
Strong.
And then the look on his face, when what comes through is genuinely fucking priceless.
It is priceless, yeah.
Great job, McKellen. Have we mentioned McKellen's good?
I don't know if we have. Maybe we should take a moment just to say how good McKellen is. I mean, there are some new actors in. We haven't really spoken about some of them. I don't know if we mentioned Karl Urban in the last.
We didn't
episode.
really. No, I don't think we really talked about Urban.
I'm an Urban fan. Where are you on Karl Urban?
Oh yeah, pro Urban.
Yeah, you haven't watched The Boys though, have you? The Boys is great. Karl Urban's very good, and he was very pretty back then.
Yeah, very effective Russian hitman in the Bourne Supremacy.
Yeah,
really like him in that.
Yeah, Bones, of course, in Star Trek.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm very pro Urban. I think he's great in this film.
Yeah, he was something of a revelation, really, for maybe not in New Zealand, but everywhere else, I'd wager. Yes.
Yeah, and obviously we also get to meet Faramir and Boromir's daddy.
Denethor, yes, who is in the extended Two Towers, but not the theatrical.
Yes. Yeah.
And isn't he a right prick?
He really, really
I mean,
really
you would have daddy issues.
Yeah. As soon as he came on screen, I said to you, there's a scene where he eats chicken really disgustingly.
It's really haunted you, hasn't it?
It's stuck in my mind. The way he bites that cherry tomato and he's like there's so many mouth noises.
I mean, as soon as you said it, I was like, it is imprinted on my brain as well. Like, I knew the exact shot you were talking about.
Yes, yeah.
And it is revolting.
It is really good filmmaking, though. Like, just that...
Oh, you want to recoil from this guy.
It sums up everything about this character.
Yeah. Dreadful bastard, Denethor.
Yeah.
Dreadful. Yeah. Fucking poor Faramir. I do like Faramir more in this movie.
I was going to ask that. Yeah, yeah. Is he closer to your visions of Faramir in the book?
Closer. Yeah, I still, I mean, yeah, film Faramir just is still, quite simply is not book Faramir. He's just not as good. We get a kind of glossed over romance between him and Eowyn in in this extended cut, which I don't think is really there in the theatrical, which I suppose kind of makes sense given that, I mean, since this is Middle-earth, Eowyn's probably the first woman Faramir's seen.
Yeah. That would make sense.
And as a straight male, he was like, holy shit.
Yeah. I like Miranda Otto.
Yeah, I'm pro.
Yeah. Well, no, we haven't really discussed her either, so that's why I was throwing there. It's so late. It's really, really late. Are you really going to drive all the way home?
I am. So just like in the Helm's Deep battle, where every time I watch it, I manage to forget that Gandalf's turning up. And then I'm like, sweet, he's here. I forget that the Rohirrim are on their way.
Really?
When I'm watching the Siege of Gondor. And then as Gandalf's squaring off against the Witch King and that horn sounds, I'm like, oh, ripper. Great timing, Rohan. Good job, you. So the first good TV that I ever bought,
yeah,
when I plugged it in at home,
this was your first.
It was like, what should we put on? What should be the first thing we put on?
Oh wow!
And it was that specific scene. It was the charge.
Just the scene, not even the whole movie.
Yeah, no, we were like, what's one like shit hot thing?
Wow,
that is going to look good on our new giant TV, which now you wouldn't consider that giant, but at the time it was like, holy mother of God.
Yeah.
The Charge of the Rohirrim was the first thing that we watched.
My go-to is always Sphere.
Fucking hell. You're like, I wonder if this can make this seem good.
No, it's Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is what I always go to. Yeah. That's interesting that you just watched a scene.
Yeah. Then probably started from the beginning. Well, I probably started with Fellowship, to be honest.
Yeah.
Also, shout out, I don't think we can spend that long on Denethor other than to point out that he was a dreadful prick. Great job, makeup team, on McKellen when he goes to rescue Faramir from the crazed Denethor. At this point, the Siege of Gondor's been going on for a while at this point.
Hours.
And he looks so utterly fucking spent.
Yeah.
Like, McKellen looks like he's just going to fall off his horse.
Yeah, it really does. I'm not going to lie, I actually found it a little distracting, to be honest. Particularly just in that one scene where he really, really did look like on the edge of death.
Yeah.
And it did kind of actually pull me out of it a little bit. I'm like, wow, okay, they're really swinging for it here.
I think it's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, right.
I also love Denethor flaming, just charging off the edge of...
Best shot in the whole movie when he just runs out of that room covered in flames.
It's awesome.
So good.
It's awesome. Do you think the movie thinks, look how awesome and pro-women we are with the line, I am no man?
Yes.
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 They're like, look at us, we're so good. It's like, oh wow, you gave a line to a woman. Good job, movie.
Yeah. Now let her talk to another woman.
And the Witch King is, I mean, he's fucking stunned because he probably didn't realize there were women in Middle-earth.
Yeah, probably.
He's like, I don't understand what's going on here.
Yeah.
I didn't cater for this in my prophecy because I didn't know you fucking existed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we get, I've caught back up to where you were a little while ago.
Yeah.
Then we get the cheat code army.
Yeah. And it sucks. It sucks. Honestly, like I said.
So Aragorn's gone off on his side quest.
Yeah.
To recruit this army of the dead.
Yeah.
Who are just too good.
Yeah, it sucks.
He turns up with an unbeatable army. And this battle that had been going quite poorly for everyone involved.
Yeah.
Over in a flash.
Honestly, every time I watch this movie, like I said, I dislike it more because the battle is so long and then it's just done. And it's like, what? It's poorly executed, I think.
And all you've got to cling to is Legolas surfing down an Oliphant.
Yeah. Yep. Which is not that cool.
I'm still I'm actually still pro Legolas versus the Oliphant.
No way. No. It's bad.
For me, that's still just on this side. And over there is him running up falling stones in The Hobbit.
I just find the whole battle sequence in this film, visually it's not as interesting as Helm's Deep. it's about an hour longer than Helm's Deep, which is already a pretty epic battle. And it's just very repetitive and samey. Like, you were talking about how much you hated cutting away to the ends. Whereas here...
I don't hate cutting away to the ends.
Well, you said that. You said it kind of kills the flow. And
yeah, but I didn't say...
Yeah.
Were you listening to what I said? Clearly not.
It's on tape. I'll listen back. Whereas here, for me at least, the cuts away from the quote-unquote battle are the best bits of that 2 hours. When you cut to, the king losing his mind and getting the oil and stuff.
He's not the king, he's the steward.
Whatever. Like that.
What's the name of the movie?
Shut up, mate. That bit is awesome. Even Aragorn's side quest where he's going to get this army of the dead is much more interesting than when they actually turn up. Like, I just think all of those little bits where it cuts away, if it weren't for them, I'd be out. I'd be so bored. I'd be falling asleep.
It's just hilarious that the action is what sends you to sleep.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah.
My favorite edition that I remember being kind of dismayed when this wasn't in the film when I first saw it, and then just utterly overjoyed when it was in the proper edition. That is the mouth of Sauron that comes out to greet them at the Black Gates.
And that is, oh man, the makeup and the cinematography is so good.
That makeup job where they did the cracking wounds around the mouth, which then they then make larger than it naturally should be, with the idea being that just giving voice to his master takes this disgusting physical toll on him. The execution of it is just absolutely sensational. That scene fucking rules.
I can't even quite put my finger on exactly what they've done, but there's a really cool camera technique they've got going there as well, where it's almost like the movement of the camera is locked to the face. So there's all these weird moments where it turns, like the face turns suddenly and stuff, and the camera does something strange at the same time, and it's really off-settling, and yeah, I love it.
It's the Australian actor who plays him. It's the guy who's the gyro pilot from Mad Max.
Really?
Yeah, it's that guy. I don't know his name. He's just, slightly odd-looking Australian actor. Every Australian knows him, but no one knows his name.
Yeah.
This is right before probably what I would vote for as best shot of the film, when they decide to just charge. They're absolutely surrounded, and they decide they're just going to charge them and go out in a blaze of glory, effectively.
Yeah.
The shot of Merry and Pippin leading the charge in front of everyone else who's twice their size is, I think, pretty fucking great.
Yeah.
As is then the shot of them just getting swept up in this charge of everyone larger than them. Just because it's you never forget the size of the hobbits, really, but I suppose maybe there's a degree to which you're just with them so often that maybe it's not front of mind.
Yeah. I love the development of Merry and Pippin as well throughout the saga. I think that they have probably arguably one of the most heroic journeys. Frodo, he's got a little bit of obviously the Jesus story, he has to do this, doesn't really want to, and he can't do it without his buddies. And obviously the big finale of this film is, Sam is the true hero, and we'll get to that. But Merry and Pippin, I think that their journey is really, really strong, because they're just kind of layabouts who just want to have fun. And by the end of this movie, like you say, they are leading the charge, and it's there's something really beautiful about the way that it's basically for each other, really. They are just that good of friends that it's really nice.
And they're both so, one kind of dedicates his service to Rohan, one to Gondor, and they're both so sincere.
Yes, yeah.
In the way they go about that.
Yeah.
But then ultimately, as you said, it comes back to this connection.
Yeah.
That's the two of them. These guys are It's like Jay and Silent Bob. These guys are soulmates.
Yeah. Hetero life mates. Yeah.
Are we up to True Hero Sam then?
I feel like we are.
So
I feel like we are.
The true hero of the book, Return of the King.
Yeah.
And indeed, probably ultimately the entire thing.
Yeah.
Is Samwise Gamgee.
Yeah.
This steadfast guy who's been there with and for Frodo.
Yeah.
Every step of the way. And when it all becomes too much for Frodo, Sam is there.
No, I know where you're going with this because I know how you feel about this. And when
so let me say this. I love the character of Sam.
Yeah.
I am so pro Sam. Sam is an absolute fucking champion. He's a hero. He can't carry it, but he can carry you. And Sean Astin is not my Sam.
Yeah.
Sean Astin is bad.
I don't think he's bad.
I think he's actively bad.
I mean, like, I don't love him by any means, but he's never bothered me. I must say, though, when we were watching the movie and you brought up your alternate casting, I was like, oh yes, oh my, yes.
Because you asked me, this is going back years now. You said to me, so who would you have? And it took, I think I probably threw out a couple of names, just kind of, cycling through people. And then it hit me. And I was like, well, this obviously changes some other films.
Yeah, but yeah.
But in my dream reality,
yeah,
Martin Freeman is Sam.
I mean, it's such a great call. Like,
it's the Office era Martin Freeman.
Yeah, you and I both loved The Office. We both loved him, and firstly, if he was Sam, it would save him from having to be Bilbo in those terrible movies. Yeah, that'd be great.
I think Martin Freeman's Sam would be sensational, and it would be like I was saying when we were talking about Fellowship, when I was like, so many of these characters, just if I reread the book, that is who I see.
Yeah.
I 100% do not see Sean Astin when I'm reading about my guy Sam.
It is a really weird...
If it's Martin Freeman,
yeah,
I think I see Martin Freeman.
It is a really weird pull, actually. Like, we really haven't spoken about Sean Astin at all, and that's because you pulled back because you wanted to save it for
I didn't want to besmirch Fellowship of the Ring.
But, I mean, arguably, was Sean Astin probably the biggest name? I mean,
no, how many Toy Soldiers fans are there out there?
I was going to say, there's a difference between being a big name and being a draw. I don't think he was a draw, but he was a pretty established actor. Like, Encino Man.
Rudy?
Yeah, Rudy. Like, he probably was actually the biggest name. It's actually kind of strange casting when you look at it like that, when you go, how did that happen in this film that is predominantly kind of English or Kiwi or Australian actors to bring Sean Astin into place? It is a weird.
I think he basically begged for the role.
Really, is he a Lord of the Rings?
He
fan?
was really going for it.
Yeah, right.
And let me say this: not that Sean Astin cares what I have to say. Seems like a lovely guy.
Yeah.
Good luck to you, Sean.
You just think he sucks.
I wish well for you and your family. I also think you're kind of bad at your job and you are not my Sam.
Jeez, that's so harsh. Poor guy is probably sobbing in his bed right now.
Kind of liked it when you got killed in Stranger Things.
No justice for Bob.
No, I actually really genuinely enjoyed that, and I think it's specifically because of Lord of the Rings. All right, another challenger for my favourite shot of this film is, I think, certainly my favourite shot of Gollum, which is where he's got the ring back off Frodo after Frodo has, in a startling move for a hero, flat out failed.
Yeah.
And Gollum gets the ring back, and that shot of him with his arms out, looking and
so
he's
gleeful.
just astonished.
Yeah,
that I've done it. I've won. And he's this mix between astonishment and sheer glee.
Yeah.
We said they got better at Gollum between films 2 and 3. That is really astonishing that they get that level of emotion
100%
into a fucking cartoon.
100%, because you can see Andy Serkis in that. Like, you can see his actual performance, and that's more than just motion capture. It's like facial and emotion capture. It really is well done. It's a great shot.
My mum once tried to argue that, well, mate, Gollum's kind of the real hero in the end. Without him,
they don't even get to Mordor.
Without him, it does. Frodo just puts on the ring and fucks off. Without Gollum, they don't destroy it. The dad was like, "That's like saying Judas is the hero of the Bible. That's just wrong."
No, I totally see where your mum is coming from, and that's where I think that story-wise, this really works. Is that it's not ultimately one thing. Like, Frodo could not have done this on his own. And yeah, whether that be by Sam or by Gollum, like, Gollum literally does help them. They wouldn't even be at Mount Doom if he hadn't led them there.
After copping yet another spectacular beating.
Oh, so many.
Oh, Jesus
so
Christ.
many. He just gets the shit beat out of him over and over and over and over again.
Sam really gives it to him.
Yeah.
In the foothills of Mount Doom. Yeah. Holy shit.
And then we get the 10 endings of Return of the King.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if you and I have ever actually had this discussion. Everyone has had this discussion. Everybody knows that this movie drags its feet at the end and that there are too many endings. Do you feel the same way?
I see the argument, and I can't argue that common take is wrong.
Yeah.
Does it bother me? No. No, it doesn't.
Because there are literally...
It's like the movie, we've been here for hour after hour after hour. And I'm not quite ready to let go. And it's like the movie isn't quite ready to let go. And so I'm kind of just okay with it.
Oh, man. There are literally like at least 5 points where you could just stop and roll credits and it would be...
Yeah,
fine.
I think the line that Elijah Wood says of when he presents the books to Sam,
there's a couple of pages
says
left.
There's room for a little more. I think that is a joke, and I think it's really funny. I think that line is completely knowing.
Yeah, right. Because to me, that's absolutely, like, by that point already, there's been 5 times it should have ended,
and we've skipped the raising of the Shire.
Yeah, but that absolutely...
There could have been another 45 minutes.
That absolutely is where it should end, when Frodo goes off on his little death cruise.
Yeah, right. So you think that the ship going into the sunset at the harbour...
End it there.
I mean...
there's no doubt
that in the cinema you're going...
Yeah,
this is where the credits will roll.
This is very obviously the end of a film. Yeah, we don't need Sam
at the end of a really quite effective emotional scene. The farewells I find very affecting.
Yeah, and then we just get Sam in the Shire, and then we don't need it.
And if that's Martin Freeman, I'm okay with it. I reckon, in fact, I'd be like, yes, the film recognizes that this guy here is the true hero, and that's why we're ending with him.
Yeah.
And I'd be really happy with it. Instead, I'm like, why the fuck are we ending with Sean Astin? This is some bullshit. What are you doing with him? It's really late. I've forgotten your name. Sam's wife. Rosie Cotton. Rosie Cotton Gamgee. Is that her name now?
Yeah, I guess it is. It's a weird name. I hear the name Cotton and I just go to Scream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cotton Weary?
Yeah, that's it.
Pro ending with Sam, not pro ending with Sean Astin.
Yeah.
I think I said in the Fellowship pod that
that was hours ago.
It was that Andrew Lesnie did wind up winning cinematography.
Yes.
When I assumed for Return of the King because it won fucking everything.
Yeah.
He wasn't even nominated. I was utterly wrong.
Yeah, right.
And in Oscars quiz, I'd have taken a hard L there.
Let me ask you a question about the Oscars. Now, everybody knows that Weinstein, famously, is a grub. But more than that, he would basically buy Oscars.
Shakespeare in Love.
Do you think that this film with different producers has this run at the Oscar? Like, do you think that this is actually deserving of all of its Oscars? Or do you think this was bought?
This is Weinstein.
Yeah. I don't think that this would get half of these nominations.
This was full pressuring people into recognizing and honoring the entire achievement.
Yes. And I get...
Which... yeah, okay. Yuck. I'm kind of agreeing with him. Like, that's... That part of it, I'm cool with.
It's worthy, but this film does not deserve all of these Oscars.
No. I tell you what's weird is when you're just tallying up all the ones that's won, you would assume, because you're just like checking off all the technical categories, like, okay, surely it won that, won that, won that. It won sound mixing.
Sound editing?
Not sound editing.
Yeah, right. See, that's weird. That's really weird.
It's just... Yeah, it's kind of there's a lot of Oscars, though. It had a very good night.
Was it 11?
It's 11, isn't it? That's the number that Titanic and Ben-Hur have?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, Titanic, fully deserving of those Oscars.
Titanic is... I mean, it's just not even close to LA Confidential. It's not even close.
I mean... But from a technical standpoint...
I'm fine with it winning sound and visual effects. That's fine. Have it.
LA Confidential is a good movie. But Titanic... I don't know, man. I for my money, Titanic deserves those Oscars.
It absolutely... I'm horrified.
But this movie wouldn't be nominated for... I would argue probably 9 of them if it wasn't for the Steen.
Yeah, there's plenty of them. Well, no, it's not that many because I think you're just discounting too many below the line things.
Maybe
that it won for makeup, art direction.
Great
the sounds,
great little
effects.
Makeup nod with the orc that's based on Weinstein.
Yeah, someone knew.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we know now that many people knew, but
yeah.
11 fucking Oscars though. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
They had a very good night.
That's a lot. That's almost, well, that's just over a quarter of the amount of nuggets that we ate.
Yeah. I'm not loving that decision.
I feel pretty sick and really tired.
Yeah, both those things are true.
I mean, oh, Jesus. I'm going to be woken up in less than 5 hours. That's the worst. Well, okay. I think we're at the end then. How are you scoring Return of the King?
Yeah, look, this movie still has a grip on me. I'll go 9.
Yeah, I always thought I was a 9 on this, but I've moved down to an 8. I always thought for me it went Fellowship, King, Towers. But I think I've flipped those bottom two now. I think that they're both an 8, maybe with Towers just edging this one. Yeah. Good movie still. Like, don't get me wrong, it's still a good movie.
Imagine it with Martin Freeman.
Oh, man. Then it's a 10.
Could someone just mocap Martin Freeman circa turn of the century into all 3 films for us? That'd be great.
Just do a fan edit. Just take bits of him from The Office and cut them into this.
Or just like do a Jar Jar edit and cut Sam out.
Well, the movie wouldn't work without Sam.
No, it would be a real dick move to Tolkien, that.
Yeah. All right. Well, we did it. Do we have anything left to say about The Lord of the Rings?
If it wasn't 2 a.m, probably. But no, I think I'm probably done.
This is absolutely our longest run of episodes ever. This is 3 hour-long episodes back to back. It was insane.
That's normally what we would cover in a month back in the day.
Oh, I mean, honestly, our marathons in the past, we would do 2 movies per episode and we'd be hitting 35 minutes.
But these are films we really like.
And they're dense
and
movies.
They're awfully long.
We did well. This was fun. This was awesome to catch up with you again and to watch some good movies. This was good fun.
Yeah. When are we revisiting Jungle Cruise?
Oh Jesus. Well, as mentioned a couple of weeks ago, I'm going to be going fortnightly from here on out, so I don't even know what's next. I'm in Japan while these are airing. I'm at Disneyland right now, people, and I'm sure it's the best. All right, it's really late. In the meantime, if you want to get in touch with me, you can do that at wewatchedathing.com or wewatchedathing@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all under the handle @wewatchedathing. If you want to help support the show, you can do that at patreon.com/wewatchedathing. And I'm sure Topher will be back for a Christmas special, right? Catches.